G'day guys, my name's Nick and welcome to my channel Low Range Nick, where I do videos about four-wheel driving, accessory fitting and maintenance for your four-wheel drive vehicle. So in today's video I'm going to show you exactly how easy it is to install a plug and play secondary battery to your vehicle. So in today's video I'm going to show you exactly how easy it is to install the Ecoflow River Pro as your secondary battery. I'll also give you a full test and review on this awesome bit of gear. So to be completely transparent with this test and review today, I did actually approach Ecoflow to see if they'd like to work together on my Suzuki Jimny build. So they were able to supply me with the Ecoflow River Pro and some solar panels to give you guys a full test and review, and also show you guys just how easy it is to install one of these portable power stations into your vehicle and run it as your secondary battery. So if this is the first time that you've heard about these power stations, basically what they are is a lithium-ion battery pack with a lot of different inputs and outputs to either charge or discharge the unit. The capacity of the lithium-ion battery in the Ecoflow River Pro is around 720 watt hours. Now converting that to amp hours for a bit of comparison, that's around a 60 amp hour battery. But what we need to remember is that the battery in the Ecoflow River Pro is lithium ion, and we can actually use 100% of that battery charge. So if we compare that to say an AGM, you can really only use about 50% of the battery capacity. So in comparison, the Ecoflow River Pro actually compares directly to around 120 amp hour AGM battery. So if we are comparing this to a 120 amp hour AGM battery, how much do you guys think that this weighs? So I know for a fact that a 120 amp hour AGM battery weighs around 30 to 35 kilograms. Now that's a hell of a lot of weight for a battery. So the Ecoflow River Pro actually weighs in at 7.6 kilograms. So this is extremely light and extremely portable. As you can see, the battery pack does have a really good backlit display, so you can actually accurately track your usage from the display or from your Ecoflow app on your mobile phone. Built into the unit, we do have a little LED light which works off this little button here, so we can press it once for the low setting, twice for the high setting, and then a third time for the SOS function. And now moving to the middle of the unit, we do have a bunch of different USB outputs here as well. So we have a USB-C with 100 watt output. We also have two USB-As here and a USB-A fast charging port here as well. Moving over to the far side of the unit, we do have our 12 volt DC output here. So we have a cigarette socket here, which can be used for our refrigerator or other items. We also have two little DC sockets down here, which are good for like LED strip lights and accessories like that. And moving on to the side of the unit, the best thing about the Ecoflow River Pro is the fact that it has a built-in 600 watt inverter. So that means that we do have two 240 volt sockets on the side of the unit. And just under our 240 volt sockets is our expansion power port. So with the unit, you can actually purchase just the battery pack, and you can actually link the two together to boost the capacity of the battery in the unit. And just above the 240 volt sockets is a little ventilation port here with a little fan. So when the unit is charging with heavy current or discharging with heavy load, it will run the fan to help cool the unit. And now moving to the other side of the unit, we have all of our charging inputs. So under this little flap, we have our 240 volt input, our 12 volt input, and also our solar input. So we also have a little circuit breaker here, which we can reset if needed. Another great feature of the Ecoflow River Pro is the really sturdy handle on the top of the unit. Now this is perfect for tying it down in your vehicle or caravan, or carrying the unit around if necessary. And on the bottom of the unit, it does have 4 really grippy rubber feet to help secure the unit when it's sitting on different surfaces. The River Pro's dimensions are 28.9 centimeters long by 23.5 centimeters high by 18 centimeters wide. So the unit is really compact, really portable, and extremely light. Included in the kit with the Ecoflow River Pro is all of the cables necessary to start using the unit straight away. So it does come with the 12 volt charging cable here for charging the unit in your vehicle. It also comes with a 240 volt cable here for charging the unit off your standard wall socket. You get a little DC-DC cable here, a user manual, and also a solar charging cable. Now the solar panels are sold separately, and I will go through a little bit later in the video showing you guys exactly how the solar panels connect, how they charge, and all of the things necessary when using the solar panels with the unit. So now I've shown you all of the basic features and functions of the Ecoflow River Pro. Let me show you exactly how easy it is to use this power station as your secondary battery. So firstly, all we need to do is find a nice spot in our vehicle to secure the battery. Now in the back of the Jimny, I've actually just screwed these little tie down points into the bolt holes in the back of the vehicle. So I can just put my battery pack over here, and what I'm going to do is just tie it down to some of these little loopholes to secure it in the vehicle. Now that the battery pack is secured in my vehicle, I can just pop the little hatch and plug in my 12 volt charging cord into the 12 volt connection. And now I can just quite easily plug it into the factory 12 volt socket in the back of the vehicle. Now the factory 12 volt socket on most vehicles is actually switched with the ignition. So what that means is when your ignition is on and when the engine is running, the unit will charge. Then when you flick your ignition off and take the key out, when you stop your vehicle, the charge to the rear socket will stop, therefore stopping the charge to the EcoFlow unit and acting as a bit of a disconnect from your main and secondary battery. So this is exactly how we can charge our secondary battery in the back of the vehicle without having to have a DC-DC charger or a dual battery isolator. So now that I've got the unit hooked up via the 12 volt charging port, what I'm going to do is start the vehicle up, and you'll see the display here change depending on how much input is coming from my 12 volt socket. So what you can see on the display now is that it's charging at about 100 watts, and it's giving an estimated charge time of about 3 hours. So from 60% to 100%, it's saying it'll take about 3 hours. So this is definitely a great way that you can top up your battery charge when you're driving. So now I've shown you guys how 12 volt charging works. Let's plug it into the 240 volt wall socket and see just how quick it can charge up. So I'll just plug my 240 volt socket in and then connect it to my extension lead. The EcoFlow units are actually one of the fastest charging units available on the market today. So you can see here 650 watts of electricity going into this battery station charging the battery. So that gives us an estimated charge time of about 43 minutes from 60% to 100%. Now the battery station can actually charge from 0 to 80% charge in around 1 hour. So that's extremely fast charging from a battery station of this size. So now I've shown you how the DC and the AC input charging work and how much power they can actually input into the unit. I will go through later in the video how the solar panels hook up and also how they charge as well. But for now I'm going to hook up a couple of devices to the unit, and we can see on the display how much power consumption they are using and how long the battery in the unit will last. So as you can see here, I have my 40-litre compressor fridge hooked up to the power station now. So let's get a closer look at the display, and I'll flick on the fridge and we'll see how much current that the fridge is drawing when the compressor is running. So as you can see, the compressor in the fridge is running at the moment and it's drawing about 25 to 35 watts. So it is fluctuating a little bit, which is completely normal. And what you can see, the estimated runtime of the battery pack from 100% is approximately 25 to 35 hours. So what we need to remember with our compressor fridge, the compressor fridge will cool the temperature down to our desired set point. Once it reaches our set point, it'll flick the compressor off in the fridge so there won't be any current draw. Then it will allow that fridge to sit until the temperature goes up a couple of degrees inside the refrigerator. Once it reaches that couple of degrees set point, then it will flick the compressor back on and cool the fridge down. So what that means is the compressor in the fridge is not running the entire time that the fridge is plugged into the unit. So if we are getting an estimated runtime of between 25 and 35 hours from this unit, that means that we could almost double, if not triple, the amount of time that this fridge will actually run from the Ecoflow River Pro. So it really is dependent on the ambient temperature and also how many times you are in and out of your fridge. But what we can see here is that the Ecoflow River Pro will actually run this compressor fridge for at least 48 hours, if not a lot longer. Now we can actually charge the unit and discharge the unit at the same time, so that means that if we are going on a trip somewhere, we can run our fridge off the unit in the vehicle and also charge it from our 12-volt socket in the back. So that means that the fridge will be running all of the time, discharging from the unit, but we will also be putting in about 100 watts or just over, depending on our socket in our vehicle, into the unit and recharging it. So that means that we'll be recharging the unit more than we're discharging. So when we get to camp, we're ready to go with 100% of battery charge. So if you're wanting to have strip lighting like this hooked up to the unit, you can quite easily actually just plug the strip lighting straight into the front of the unit, into the little DC output here. So you can see that there. You can just plug it straight into the front, and these are actually interconnectable. So you can actually connect, a string of 3-4 lights if you need, and run them all around the vehicle. So you can see down here on the display, the single strip light is drawing about 13 watts of electricity. So you can see here our estimated runtime is 59 hours running this single strip light. So I think that's really impressive. It can basically run your 12-volt fridge and your strip light for a really long time. So now I've loaded up the EcoFlow pretty heavily. I've got my compressor fridge running, with it actually running the compressor at the moment to cool the fridge down. I've got my LED strip light, my little camp light here charging, my head torch charging, and my mobile phone charging. So as you can see, my estimated runtime is around 12 hours, and that is with the compressor in the fridge running. So what we know is that our compressor fridge will cut in and out. Once it gets the fridge down to temp, it will cut that compressor off, so it won't be running the entire time. And also our phone will be charged in about 40 minutes. Head torch will be charged in about 2 hours. This little torch will be charged in about 2 hours as well. So we know that all of these devices will be off the unit in about 2 hours or so, and also our fridge will be down to temp within the next half an hour. So what we can guarantee is that the battery pack will definitely be able to run all of these things, get them up to charge, and we'll be able to last all the way through the night until we can get some more solar charging or car charging back into the unit. Alrighty guys, so now I've gone through all of the USB inputs and the 12-volt inputs on the front of the unit, and we've seen how long it can actually run some of these appliances and charge the appliances. Let's get stuck into testing out some of the 240-volt side of things, which is going to be really interesting. So this little thing here is my new favorite addition to my full driving and camping gear. This is a 240-volt kettle, but it is rated to 600 watts. So the unit can run this little kettle perfectly. So let's turn the unit around and get this plugged in. And we'll get this plugged into the 240-volt sockets, and we'll just turn that on there. So that's on now, and now we can have a bit of a look at the display while the kettle starts to boil. Alright guys, so I've got my kettle filled with water, and it takes about 500-600 mils of water, so just enough for 2 cuppers, which is perfect. So I'll flick it on now. So I've got it hooked into the side of the unit, and I'll also start my little timer here so you can see exactly how long it takes for the little kettle to boil the water. And you can see here the current on the display here. It has jumped up to about 590 watts. So that's how much electricity it's drawing from the battery pack to boil the water. So there you go guys, you can see in around about 6 minutes it can boil 500 to 600 mils of water in this little kettle, and it used about 6 to 8% of battery life. So when I did the test the other day, it actually took only 5 minutes and used about 5% of the battery life. So I think it does really depend on the temperature of the water that you put into the kettle. So this water was pretty cold, and it took about just over 6 minutes to boil the kettle completely. So the other appliance that I'm going to show you that can run off the 240-volt socket on the side of the unit is a toasty machine. So this little thing will make you the envy of every camper. So what I'm going to do is a very similar test to last time. So I'm going to have my little stopwatch here, which I'll start when I turn the unit on. And what we're going to see is a red light on top of the unit when it's heating up to temp and cooking the toasty. And then when it goes green, we'll know that it's finished cooking the toasty inside. So let's just turn the unit on. And now we'll start our timer. So you can see the red light on top of the unit has lit up now, and it's starting to draw about 590 watts from the unit again. So now we're sitting at 90% battery life, so now we can easily calculate how much battery life the toaster machine is going to use to cook the toasties inside. So now you can see the light on top of the unit has turned to green, so that means that the toasties or jaffles inside are ready to go. And that only took about 2.5 minutes to cook the toasties inside. So I did actually test this out the other night and made a couple of toasties, and I was pretty impressed with how well it actually worked and how little battery life it actually used to cook the toasties inside. So as well as being an extremely powerful battery station, the Ecoflow River Pro can actually run appliances up to 1800 watts. So the River Pro has Ecoflow's X-Boost technology built into the unit. So what that means is even though the unit has a 600 watt inverter, it can actually power appliances up to 1800 watts. So that is things like toasters, microwaves, refrigerators, and loads of other high current appliances that you might have around your home. So now I've hooked up a few little appliances to the unit. I'm just going to open the Ecoflow app, which is available on the App Store, and we can have a bit of a look at how the app reads out data from the unit. You can see my River Pro data here on the screen. So what you can see is the battery temperature, the charge percentage, and also the charge time remaining in the battery. So the battery life, you can see the inputs or outputs going in or out of the unit. You can see whether your X-Boost is turned on or off. You can also turn the light on the unit on or off from your application. You can also turn your outputs on and off, like the 12 volt DC output. So you can turn that on or off from the app, and you can see what ports are being used on the unit. In the settings screen, you can also adjust a lot of different things with the unit, and you can play around with all the different settings to personalize it exactly how you like it. Alrighty guys, so now I'm down in the backyard. I'm going to show you exactly what you get in the kit with the 160 watt solar panels, and I'm also going to show you exactly how to set them up and connect them to the unit, and also how much charge the solar panels are actually putting into the Ecoflow River Pro. So here we have the 160 watt Ecoflow solar panel kit. So I'll just open it up for you guys and show you guys what you get in the kit. So you can see these 4 little carabiners here. So they come with the kit to secure the solar panel to the bag, so you can use the bag as a bit of a frame to hold the panels up. Just open this up. And now the bag does have a hard backing, so it can be used as the frame to hold the panels up. You can see here the wiring, and there's also a bit of an extension lead here which you can use to extend from your vehicle out to the panels. So now we can open them all the way up, and we'll get it set up using the bag as the frame, and I'll show you guys how that works. So you can see how I've used those little carabiners through the eyelets in the solar panels, and you can basically use the bag to adjust the angle of the panels depending on where the sun is. So the sun's on a pretty good angle hitting those panels now, so all I need to do is connect my solar panels to the extension lead and then into the vehicle. So I'll just get my extension lead here, which is supplied in the solar panel kit, and I can just plug these 2 connectors together so they quite easily go into the other connectors and clip in. So now I can just run my little power cable into my Ecoflow River Pro, and we can see how much current the solar panels are putting into the battery. So what you can see here is that with the fridge compressor cycling, it's drawing about 30 watts of electricity, and with our solar panels charging, they're charging at about 130 watts. So that means that there's around 100 extra watts of electricity going into this battery pack to recharge it. So that means that we could still run a couple of USB chargers off it, some lights and some other appliances, and the unit would still be able to be charged off the solar panels. So the Ecoflow solar panels run a monocrystalline silicon cell type, and the panels can be folded up into a compact little package as you saw before, and they weigh in at 5.6 kilograms. So these panels are a great addition to the River Pro because they give you that additional charging input that you can get while you're sitting around camp. So there you go guys, now I have my Ecoflow River Pro installed in the Suzuki Jimny as my secondary battery. Now installing a power station as your secondary battery is an extremely easy option, and it is extremely versatile as well. So if you would like to find out a bit more information on the Ecoflow power stations, I will drop a link down in the comments and description below to their website. Now, if you did enjoy today's video, guys, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for more four-wheel driving, accessory fitting, and maintenance videos. Cheers, guys.